welcome back to my channel. Um, this is your girl Nisi, and I'm back with another breast cancer video. In this video, we're going to talk about, dive a little deeper into chemotherapy. Um, First, let me say that I am in no way a physician, a doctor, or anything in the medical field to where I'm able to give advice. So this is strictly um, for enjoyment, not really enjoyment, but just for your viewing and hoping that it helps someone. Um, so like I said, we're going to dive a little deeper into chemotherapy. My chemotherapy. Firecrackers. Hmm. Oh. Mm-mm-mm. Juneteenth, baby, which is tomorrow. Maybe they're starting early. Celebration time for that. June 19th. That's Juneteenth, y'all. If you don't know about it, please look it up and find out about it, especially if you're a melanated person. This is not the video for that. So like I said, we're going to dive into my chemotherapy story. The medications that I was given to treat my cancer, my breast cancer, some of the things that started happening to me, like the symptoms and stuff that I had while I was on chemotherapy, and some of the things that I did to assist me with getting through the chemotherapy stage. So first, I'm just going to start off by reading a little piece of my paperwork, just to let you guys know how the medications worked, how they was working inside my body to help with treating the cancer. So it says cancer tumors are characterized by cell division, which is no longer controlled as it is in normal tissue. Normal cells stop dividing when they come into contact with like cells, a mechanism known as contact inhibition. Cancerous cells lose this ability. Cancer cells no longer have the normal checks and balances in place that control and limit cell division. The process of cell division, whether normal or cancerous cells, is through cell cycle. The cell cycle goes from the resting phase through active growing phases and then to mitosis, which is division. The ability of chemotherapy to kill cancer cells depends on its ability to halt cell division. Usually, the drugs work by damaging the RNA and the DNA that tells the cells how to copy itself in division. If the cells are unable to divide, they die. The faster the cells are dividing, the more likely it is that chemotherapy will kill the cells, causing the tumor to shrink. They also induce cell suicide, which is self-death. Chemotherapy drugs that affect cells only when they are dividing are called cell cycle specific. Chemotherapy drugs that affect cells when they are at rest are called cell cycle non-specific. The scheduling of chemotherapy is set based on the type of cells, rate at which they divide, and the time at which a given drug is likely to be effective. This is why chemotherapy is typically given in cycles. So let me see if I should read. Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there. So that's just a little bit about the medications that I was given to help shrink the tumor in my breast, my left breast. a little bit about how it works, what's happening when you're being administered the chemotherapy, and how it's kind of killing off um, the cancerous cells. Um, so let's jump right in. Um, I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing. Okay, so like I said, I began my chemotherapy. My first day of chemotherapy was June 29th of 2020. And if you see me looking down, I'm always looking down, looking at my notes, trying to make sure I don't leave anything out for you guys. So it was June 29th, 2020. I remember that day just like it was today. Um, I was scared as you know what, shit. I'm gonna say it like that. I was scared as shit because I was just not knowing what's gonna happen. Before I started the chemotherapy, I took a class via Zoom, a chemo class, and the nurse just kind of went over. It was not only me on the call, it was a lot of us on the video call, a lot of people that were actually getting ready to start chemotherapy. And she just kind of ran down a lot of stuff to us, letting us know what was going to happen, what wasn't going to happen. And, you know, she did mention that they monitor you very closely because anything could happen. Once those drugs hit the inside of your body, you could have a reaction. Plenty of things can happen. Okay, Juneteenth people. I know y'all hear those firecrackers popping. They sound like they're right here at my window. I'm gonna let them do their thing because Juneteenth, you know, it is what it is. We deserve that. Yeah, we deserve more than that, but it's cool. Okay. So my chemotherapy went in I call it two cycles. The first cycle that was administered to me was what they call AC. And I did AC for 4 rounds. I had 4 rounds of AC. So my first, second, third, and fourth chemo treatment was using AC. They used AC to treat me. And what AC is, it's just the initials of the two medications that they were giving me to treat me. So the name of the medications was adromycin and cytoxin. So that's AC, adromycin and cytoxin. So I did the AC cycle 4 times, and that was my first cycle. 4 times every other week. So like today is Friday. So every other Friday, I would get a chemotherapy treatment using AC, adromycin and cytoxin. Which was cool. I kind of liked it, the AC, because it was every 2 weeks. What would happen is I would go in, you know, I had the port put in. They would hook me up. They would draw blood from the port because they drew, every time I went in, they drew blood because they have to test the blood to check my levels, check my blood counts, red and white. And they had to check, excuse me, y'all, they had to check everything. They had to check make sure everything was good within my blood, as far as my blood counts and stuff. They had to check my neutrophils. They checked everything. So that's what I did for 4 treatments every other week. I did the AC. So with the AC, when I went in, they hooked me up. They drew blood. They ran the blood while I was getting my chemotherapy. I went to the chemo room. The chemo nurses hooked me up to the pole. Um, you know, the pole that you see people walking with in the hospital, that you might have water hanging from, or you might have some kind of medication hanging from. They hooked me up to that pole. Um, they always had a TV. My chemotherapy room was really nice. I wasn't in the room by myself. It was like one big room with these lounge chairs, and everybody had their own lounge chair. Everybody had their own blanket and pillow if you wanted that. Everybody had their own snacks if you wanted that. Um, and it was plenty of TVs in there, and they kept it on HGTV, which was awesome because I love HGTV. So I was able to watch a lot of home shows and stuff while I was there. I was also, which I rarely got a chance to, because every time I went, guess what? I was working. I was still working full time. So I would take my laptop in, take everything I need, and I would, once I got in my chair, I went to work. And that's what I did. Other people, you know, you can do whatever you want. You can take a nap. Um, you can read a book. You can sit there and you can be on your phone if you want to. It's just like they want you as relaxed as possible. But me, myself, they was so used to it. They knew me. They got to know me very well, and they know she's working. I would have my laptop, and I'm just tapping away, doing what I need to do. Um, so the first through the fourth round, like I said, was adriamycin and cytoxin, AC. Um, so once I'm hooked up to the pole, what they give you first is water. They're constantly giving you water. You know, that medical grade water. That's what it is. They give you that first. After they gave me that, they would. I was also on. I was on a nausea medication. So after the water, they would give me through the port. They would give me, everything is given through the port. They would give me a nausea medication, and that was just to control the nausea, just in case you got sick. Um, it was to help you to not get sick. Which thank God I never experienced that. Maybe it was the medication. I never experienced like feeling like, oh, I feel sick while I was getting my chemotherapy, which is good. Can't complain about that. Um, they also, after they gave the nausea medication, that's when they start the AC round. So they give you the AC. And then after the AC, what they did was give you a steroid. So a steroid, and then they would flush that out with some more of that medical grade water. I tell you one thing, that water be running right through you, because I would have to get up and go to the bathroom. I think I was there this cycle, the AC cycle, I think it ran, how long was I there? I think for the AC cycle, I was there for 2 hours. I was out of there in 2 hours. So if my appointment was at 9, by 11, I was gone. Unless something was happening and they was running behind or whatever, which they normally was on time. The only time that I would find myself running behind is when I would see the doctor. And I think I seen him during this AC round. I seen him. When did I see Dr. Cook? I think I seen him. I think I seen him. No, it wasn't every time. I think I seen him when I started the AC round, and then my fourth treatment, I think I seen him. I didn't see him that often during the AC round. I hope I'm telling y'all this right. I can't remember how often I seen him, but they keep a very close watch on you. The nurses that are in the chemo room, they are very nice, very friendly, very helpful. Everybody was helpful. They get you whatever you need when you first walk in the room. It be kind of cool in there sometimes, but me and my hot flashes, I never wanted a blanket, so they would ask, but I'm good. I'll take a pillow though, because I wanted to put the pillow behind me so I can be comfortable in that way. So that was the first through fourth round, and with the fourth through the first through fourth round, um, they would give you this medicine called Neulasta. The very first time I got Neulasta, they put it on my arm. It's like a box, a small box. It's not that big, but if you wear a t-shirt tight like this, you would be able to see it. If you wore something a little more baggier, then you couldn't see it. But it was like a box. You can put it on your arm or at the bottom of your belly. The first time, my first chemo treatment, the very first one, they put the box on my arm. And what that box is, it has medication in it. It has the Neulasta. That's what it's called, the medication. It's Neulasta. And what that is, what it does is assist your body in bringing up your white blood cell counts. Because as you know, with chemotherapy, it go like I just read, it goes in and it kills everything, all the cells. So it doesn't know which cells are good cells and which cells are bad cells, so it kills all of them. So that box, that Neulasta box, is to help bring your white blood cell counts back up. The first time I had that box on my arm, I went home with it, and what it does is after 24 hours of you getting your treatment, the box is timed, and the nurse, she'll tell you when it's going to go off. So you might be doing something and forget, and then next thing you know, you hear click, you hear a tick, 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 and it's letting you know that it's getting ready to administer the medication. And it, in whatever time it is, it does that tick, 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 tick for a few minutes, and next thing you know, the medicine go. You don't feel it though. I don't know how they do it, what's in there, but I didn't feel any pain when it went in. So it went in though. I don't know if something stuck me in the arm and the medicine went through it. I don't know, but mine leaked. My very first one, it leaked, and I could tell it leaked because when it did it, my shirt was wet, like on my sleeve, and I'm like, oh snap, this medicine, it leaked. And they said that if it leaked or something, I needed to reach out to them. So it was at night. It was like 7 o'clock, so I know the office was closed. So what I did was get up the very next morning and I called them and told them that it leaked. So they asked me to come in because they wanted to check my white blood cell count. And I did go in that day. They wanted me to come in like now. And I went in and they checked them, and of course they were low. Now, a normal white blood cell count in women, a normal white blood cell count in women is anywhere from a 4.2 to a 5.4. And that's 4.2 to 5.4 million cells. Guess what? Mine would drop all the way down. Mine has been as low as a 1.4. So 1.4 from the lowest normal range of 4.2, that's pretty low. When you don't have your white blood cell count up, guess what? You're very tired. You're weak. It's a lot of stuff going on in your body. You're tired and you're weak is what I can say. You need those white blood cells. White blood cells are what fight off disease, what fight off infections in your body. And when they're low, guess what? You're prone to infection. You're prone to something, if something got a germ or something, it'll be hard for it to fight it off because your white blood cell counts are low. That's what fight off infections and diseases in your body. So mine, when I got there, of course mine was low. It was a 1 point something, which is low. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't give me another shot. They couldn't give me another shot because they don't know how much leaked. So They sent me home and said I just need to eat. They always say just eat, eat, eat. And of course it's hard to eat because you don't have an appetite, because guess what? You're not feeling well. But I ate, I did the best I could. I always tried to keep fresh fruits and vegetables around because it's easy. A banana don't have a smell. Um, Most fruits, apples don't have a smell to make you nauseated. That's what I did. I did a lot of that stuff. My very first chemo treatment, I remember coming home and my kids were here and my husband was in the kitchen cooking. I think he was cooking us some hamburgers or something. And I was laying on the sofa. I had to actually get up and come into my room and shut the door because the smell, I was getting nauseated just from the smell. Um, so yeah, that was the first round of chemotherapy, round 1 through 4. Every other week, I was on AC. I did the AC. They gave me medical grade water first. Then I got the nausea medication. Then I got the AC, which are the 2 drugs. And then I got the steroid. And then they flushed me again with medical grade water. Some of the things that some of the symptoms that I had during the AC round were my hair, of course, started falling out. I thought I would try to get ahead of the game. I tried, like, my first treatment was on June 29th, like June 27th. I was in the mirror. I was just like, I know it's going to fall out because the chemotherapy nurse told me, she knew what drugs I was taking when I was on the Zoom call. So she pretty much told me, you're going to lose all your hair. And she told everybody else that was in there what they were going to do to as far as hair loss. So I figured I'll get ahead of it because I didn't want to just be sitting there one day and do like this and I got a handful of hair. I think that would have traumatized me more. So I got ahead of the game. I got in the mirror. I cut it low. I cut it a little lower than this. I didn't cut it all the way off. I cut it a little lower than that. And I was thinking, oh, that'll be good. That was fine. But after that first treatment on June 29th, 2 days later, few days later, after that treatment, I was sitting in my living room on the sofa watching TV. And I just so happened to do like this. I had clumps of hair, little clumps of hair in my hand. So I was like, dang, I didn't even cut it all the way off. I should have just shaved it. So in order to, and I would go to sleep and I would wake up and I would see, little balls of hair on my pillow. So I was like, okay. So like within the first week of chemo, I went ahead and went in the bathroom and I got my clippers and I shaved it off. My husband, he went to the store, and when he came back, I was in the bathroom with the door shut, and then I opened up the door and I peeked around the corner, and he was like, "You shaved it?" I was like, "Yeah, might as well because it's falling, it's falling." And he was like, "Oh, you did a good job. It don't look bad." But us women, we used to hair, so I was just like, I just stood there. Of course, I started crying because it's like I didn't have my hair. Like, that's one of them things. And it made me realize, like, when I would see people, like, how you be out and about and you see people, I call it the chemo look or the cancer look. Now I recognize what that is. What I would see people and I'd be like, and then you keep seeing people, and I'm going to describe to you what these people look like. They're like a normal person, no color, no nothing. It's just a normal person. They don't look frail or anything. It's just a normal person, and they have low hair or no hair, and then they have a hat on. I might put a picture up just to show y'all what I'm talking about. And then it started dawning on me like, these people had cancer. That's that look. It's the, I don't want to say the cancer look, but you be like, dang, all this time. And I remember one girl that I went to school with, we wasn't close or anything, but I used to see her all the time in the store. And I speak to her, but we never were close. We went to the same school, but we wasn't close. So I would see her every so often. And there was a period of time that I would see this young lady, and she had that look. And at that time, I didn't know what it was. And to be honest, I would see, I never thought about it twice. But she had that look. And now that I'm going through the same situation, I know what that look is. But it's just a normal person. They're not thin or anything. It's just that it's a look. And I guess you would only know it if you were going through it, or you went through it, or you know somebody that went through it. They don't look bad. It's nothing bad about the look. It's just that look. But I went ahead, yeah, I shaved it off, and I stood in the mirror. I cried. I got it all out, and I took my hair that I shaved off the first day, and I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I still got the bag around here somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but I did tuck it away, and I wanted to keep it. So yeah, it was hair loss. I dealt with hair loss in the beginning. I dealt with nausea. I dealt with tiredness, weakness, because of the white blood cell counts. I dealt with muscle pain, not so bad though, just a little, tiny bit. I dealt with mouth sores. I didn't deal, it wasn't a lot of mouth sores, but I did have mouth sores, and it's just from the drugs and stuff. So you have to be very careful with eating and making sure your mouth is clean. And I also dealt with hot flashes. The hot flashes kicked in because after I had my first chemotherapy treatment, I never had a menstrual cycle since, and I haven't since. But instead of the menstrual cycles, I did pick up hot flashes. So I don't know if that, I'm thinking that the chemotherapy pushed me into menopause or premenopause because of my age. My cycle hasn't came back, so I'm not even sure at this point if it is going to come back or not. I also dealt with, in this phase of my chemotherapy, I dealt with my nail bed and my toenail bed and my nail beds turned black. And they tell you you can't wear false nails and acrylic nails and stuff, because it could be bad. Something could happen. Your whole nail could come up and come off, and they don't want them putting that drill and shaving down your nails because they're already sensitive from the chemotherapy. So you just have to deal with them. They turn dark on your feet and your hands, and you just deal with it. Now, when it was time for me to go for my second and third chemotherapy treatment in this AC round, of course, my white blood cell count was low. So it pushed me off. They won't you can't get the chemotherapy if your white blood cell counts are low. And y'all, not to mention white blood cell counts, my red blood cell counts were also low. That's why I was seeing this particular doctor in the first place. I was seeing him to treat my anemia because my red blood cell counts were low because of my heavy menstrual cycles. And before he could get that treated, I found out that I had breast cancer. And since I was already seeing this doctor who treated cancer as well, I just went ahead and stayed with him and allowed him and his team to administer my breast cancer medications. Um, so that's some of the stuff I dealt with during the first AC cycle. Now for the nausea, what I did was um, ginger tea, ginger chews, ginger shots. Any kind of ginger helps the nausea a little bit. And then they also offer you medication for it. I'm not a medication taker, so they gave it to me. I filled the prescription and it's still in my cabinet untouched. I haven't touched it. But it was there in case I needed it. I just did the ginger and I just dealt with it. For tiredness and weakness, you just have to eat so you can try to get those white blood cell counts back up. They say parsley. My doctor told me to eat parsley. But in order to do that, parsley is fresh. You can put it in your food, like if you do some pasta or something. I couldn't eat it fresh. I had to cook it and stuff because I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't eat fresh vegetables. Everything had to be cooked because guess what? Your white blood cell counts are low. And if you get fresh fruits and vegetables and you don't clean them correctly, you don't wash them and get all the stuff off of them, and you eat that, guess what? You don't have any white blood cell counts to fight off anything. If you were to get something from not properly cleaning the fresh fruits and vegetables. So I was told not to eat that, which I didn't. So parsley helps bring up your white blood cell count, but you would have to kind of put it in your food and cook it in your food. So that's what I did, and I guess it helped. I didn't do it like I was supposed to. I don't follow the rules, y'all. But I did it a little bit. I didn't do it enough to tell if it helped. So the second and third round of my chemo treatment of the AC, it was pushed back because both times when I went, and then of course, let me tell you, I stopped getting that box on my arm. I did that the one time. What happened after that is they asked me to come in the next day after my treatment, and they actually administered a shot, the same medication but in shot form. They just gave me the shot instead of putting the box on my arm so that they can be sure that I got all of the medication inside my body. When I went for my my last round of the AC, which was the number 4, I was fine. Everything went good. It was on time and I was good. The second and third one was not. And let me tell you, I had to realize quickly, because you get there and you want to get it. You want to get it and you want it to be over with. You want to keep the process moving. You want to move through the process effortlessly and without fault. You just want to get them and be done. When I got there for the second one, it was low. I couldn't get it. So, a normal human, you kind of get upset. But look, you just have to realize you have to let your body guide you. Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Your body is guiding you, and you let your body do what it needs to do. So you roll with the punches. You roll with the flow. You stay on top of it, and you just keep moving. Don't be mad. I had to teach myself that because at that time I didn't know, girl, you about to be mad a lot of times. So you just have to roll with it. If your body, if they do that when you get there to get your treatment, and they draw that blood and then they test that, because they always test that blood before they put you in the chemo room, but they test that blood, and before they hook you all the way up to that pole, guess what? They're going to run that blood and check it. And if that white blood cell counts and those neutrophils come back and they're not where they need to be, they're going to come back there and they're going to say, honey, we can't administer your treatment today because your white blood cell counts are low.